Sword of the Seven Suns by Gardner F. Fox. Originally published in Planet Stories, Spring, 1947. Read by Jon Gill. Part 3. As his feet pounded on back streets and alleys, he dwelt on the threat of the Darksiders. They were like the Klarn, yet they possessed none of their scientific ability. Centuries ago, so many that the Klarnva had lost count of them. The Darksiders ruled all of Klarn. Then had come the Klarnva, who consisted of the Dullars and the Mechnics in ships of the sky, from somewhere beyond the triple moons of Klarn, from where had been lost in the shrouding veils of antiquity. Their leader had been Norda, a thin genius with a mind as curious as a question. It was Norda who put the machine together, who directed that the people should live in walled city-states against the inroads of the vast numbers of Barbary Darksiders. In the machine, Norda had stored power, endless quanta of it. That power gave the Klarvna their lights, their heat, their luxuries. They grew used to it. The machine even furnished them with weapons, so far superior to those of the Darksiders that the latter looked on them with awe. When the machine went dead 25 years ago, the city-states of the Klarnva went dead too. There was no light, no heat. Gone were the power-driven vehicles, the entertaining screens. People groped upward as from a fog, seeking the source of that power. They recalled that the keeper of the machine had disappeared around the same time as the machine stopped. Moreover, the vast prism in the desert was smashed. Something from outer space had crushed it. All knew that there was a key to the machine that would start it into motion. Many of them had tried to move it, from the Princess Glea down to Flayn. None of them were successful. Neither was Vaudar, grated Flayn, racing beneath a balcony, skidding on restless feet around a corner. There was clamor ahead of him, hearing the hoarse cries of men fighting, the rasp of blades meeting and falling away. Flayn went forward like the arrow from the bow. His blade was naked in the night, a length of glittering steel. He could see the dragon gates now, tall red blocks of stone hewn into the royal emblem of Klarn, red dragons with real flames spurting from between their teeth to light the gateway below. In the crimson glare, men struggled. As Flayn shot into the mass of men, he saw Vaudar, bound at the wrist and ankle, leaning against the wall of a building. "For Glea!" snarled Flayn, and ran his blade through a Mechnic's heart. Now the hands of men were all around him, and their shoulders smelly with sweat. He heard curses rasped in his ear, caught the glitter of a dagger raised to smite. Flayn went in low on steel-thewed legs, lurched a shoulder to catch a Mechnic off balance and send him reeling into others with the keen edge of Flayn's sword across his throat, severing his jugular vein. The sword in his hand sang a strident song as it slithered around steel and drank from the heart of men. The blade danced and leapt. The best steel in Klarn was in that sword, and the finest hand for a hilt was wielding it. The Mechnics gave stubbornly, but the dripping point that sprang out of the night for a throat and chest would not be denied. Flayn sliced a dagger across Vaudar's bonds, heard his swift, "They fight with strangers whom I do not know. Be swift, Flayn, that we may escape." For the first time the swordsmen beheld his allies. They were Klarnva, all of them, muffled in long black cloaks from which only their arms that held their blades appeared. Klarnva, but unfamiliar to him. In the press of battle, groups of cursing, fighting men swirled around Flayn and Vaudar as they sought to back away. 5 Mechnics glimpsed his lean face beneath the black hair and howled, "Flayn! Flayn!" to the starry three-moon sky. Now the Duller fought for his life. With his spine to a wooden door, he snarled softly, green eyes following the points that faced him. His longsword alive to each thrust. Parry, lunge, recover, riposte and thrust. He fought 5 men in that doorway, and one stepped out untouched. Over 5 fallen bodies the swordsman leapt to keep death from the throat of Vaudar. The black-cloaked men reformed their ranks, swept around them as a shield. There was one of them who did not fight, who stood still and silent looking on. Flayn went for him, crying, "Who are you? Why do you make our fight your fight?" End of Part 3. Thank you for listening.